Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Chad Baldwin podcast. My name's Chad Baldwin, and ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a special guest on the show. I'm super excited to have him on. He is, or was, the owner / GM of RWA, multi-time world champion. Do I have to say more? Do I honestly have to say more? My guest tonight is the drug lord, Myles Thurman. So, there you are.
What's up, Chad? Thank you for having me on here, man.
It's a pleasure. I would be lying to you.
Man. No, man. It's a real honor to be on your podcast, man. It's a real honor. You know, it's like most of the commentators we had on RWA, I'm not cool with, but you all right, Chad. You know what, Chad? You all right with me.
That's good to know. As you're one of my favorite RWA superstars, so.
Really? Am I?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay.
So, thank you for taking the time out of your night here on a nice Tuesday.
Hey man, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Rather, I had two options. Rather I come on here, or I spend the rest of my day telling all the writers that all the power is going back to Joe White. So it's like.
Oh man.
It's always something. There's always something. But it's like for something like this, I have to give it my undivided attention because this is the future. So this right here, this is going to be here when I'm gone, when Mr. White finally leaves, and when all the veterans finally leave, and the rookies are here. This is going to be here. So this is important.
Now, I've done some research about you, and I've came up with some top questions about what you've done.
Ooh.
And what you have left to do in RWA. So, do you just want to go straight into them?
We can beat around the bush if you want to, but if you're trying to go ahead and go for the hard hitters, then go ahead.
Well, I gotta just throw it out there. Is there anyone you haven't faced in RWA that you would love to on the active roster?
It's gonna surprise everybody, but it's two people that I've never got to work with, and I've always wanted to. And this is when they were here before and now. I've never got the opportunity to actually work with the Demon Jello. I never got a chance to work with him. I'm really, really interested in getting in the ring with him. Somebody else, he's a real good friend of mine. He's a real good friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? He's been putting in work in RWA ever since he walked through the doors the first time. Percy Owens. I've never got the chance to actually stand across the ring toe to toe with him, but I would love to actually have a good one-on-one match with Percy Owens. That's something I'm really interested in. Somebody else has really impressed me, but that's going to be a surprise because I personally want him to be surprised on who he is too. So I'm gonna leave that as a mystery.
It's funny you said Percy Owens. I'm just thinking about that in my head. It would be something because he is one of your other guys, I should say, in the New
Correct.
Empire. So
Correct.
It would be pretty interesting and cool to see Percy Owens versus Myles Thurman. Imagine that.
Yeah, well, it's like some people will say, well, why in the heck would he want to fight Percy Owens? He's part of his group. Even though we're a group, we're still competitors. And, we got to beat the best. I've never had the opportunity to face Percy Owens. Same thing with him. I'm pretty sure he would love to get in the ring with me as well. I'm pretty sure he probably wants to face Chris Smith, probably just as much as Chris Smith wants to fight him. But it's always something. But yeah, those are the two people that I really would like to work with. I never got a chance to work with those two, never. So I would love to.
Like, we've always heard you and Demon Jello, like, go back and forth, but we've never seen it inside the ring.
Exactly.
I think
That would be
that
amazing.
should be, if that does happen, that should be amazing.
Exactly. I'm hoping it happens too, and I'm really hoping with those two knowing their knowledge of me, they will actually bring something to the table that I haven't ever seen before. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, so those two would be my two interesting feuds. I would love to work with those two. I would love.
So, what was the experience of being the GM like of RWA?
It was a different ball game for me, Chad. It was different. I'm somebody. When I came into the company, I was in the ring. Every time you saw me, I was in the ring. I seen it as my personal duty to hurt every competitor that walked through RWA doors. And but then like when I took that step and I went into that role being a GM, it was a change for me. I had to hang up my boots. I had to trade that in for a tie with a nice suit. I had to start going to business meetings. I had to start signing paperwork for new independent wrestlers to join the company. I had to sign checks. I made sure we got weapons. I made sure the ring is good. Make sure everything is good for the fans. So it showed me more about being more responsible with the company. It's more than just wrestling. Because Chad, I'm gonna tell you right now, I had no idea the ring had a budget. I swear, I had no idea the ring. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking the places we go, they sponsor a ring for us, but they come to find out they're like, hey, no, we gotta pay for these rings. What? I have to pay to get the ring fixed?
Oh,
Yeah. So like, I'm looking at them like, but it was sometimes where I said, I wish I can get back in the ring. Just let me get back in the ring.
I'm pretty sure
Look,
the fans could notice that change in you as well. You were starting to get more eager to get inside the ring. I think more people saw that as we got closer to Down in Flames.
Actually, yes. Like, it's been building up. I mean, like, Chad, man, that frustration started building up in me back at Dark Winter.
Oh, really?
That's why, like, it was like, because I've, you know, I've, there was a saying I was raised on. If you want something right, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. The moment Brick and Crusher couldn't handle the one task that I gave them, at that point, I wanted to take that suit off and put my boots back on. Because I knew at that moment, Bryan Adams was never going to give up. The moment Bryan Adams got through those two by himself, I knew at that moment he was going to be a big issue. And the only way to make him submit and surrender, I have to do it. Yeah, so after Dark Winter, it started building up in me. It started building. I didn't want to be owner. I wanted to get back in the ring because everything was not going right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like it's sad because my Instagram, my Twitter was blowing up with fans saying, hey yo, Myles, we seeing you. We know you want to get back in that ring. Just go ahead and do it because because they need to know. So yeah, the experience of being GM was a big opener for me. I had no idea all that came into being in the company, and it surprised me that Mr. White was able to do it because every time I see Mr. White, he's slacking off. So like it shocked me that Mr. White can do all of it because I'm like, yo, wait, hold on, he did all this shit. How did he have time to wrestle?
It's funny how you were talking about the Dark Winter, and how you were the only person that could like be that person to take down Bryan Adams.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy because during that time before the match happened at Dark Winter, you were believing really heavily in your goons, or
I
yeah,
I was.
yeah,
I was believing heavily into him because I mean, Chad, you seen how Bryan Adams looked, do you?
yeah,
Don't you see how? Yeah. Like Bryan Adams is not a big guy. So when you think if I put two guys, not one, two guys that makes one of their left legs like one of Brick's left legs is bigger than Bryan Adams. One. And you telling me he can beat? Yeah, it's like the moment he beat both of those guys, I knew instantly he was never gonna give up. He was never gonna he was never gonna acknowledge me as the owner. I knew at that point.
yeah. It was truly a good match, and then we also saw you attack Bryan Adams after his match at Dark Winter. So we saw a little
Yes.
bit of the monster come out of you. You just couldn't contain it anymore. And then
I
that's
mean,
when
yes.
you introduced Percy Owens, and he won the world title.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I knew for a fact I couldn't do it. I knew for a fact I couldn't just throw myself in the world title picture because then everybody would have said, he's the owner. He's just giving himself the world title. Nah, but he ain't even going to defend it. Nah, man. Nah, you know, man, but at the same time, being GM, I had a lot of time to think. I was thinking about a lot of things when I was sitting in that office. I was thinking about everybody that Mr. White screwed over. I was thinking about the things that could have went differently in RWA. You know, it, to me, man, to me, Chad, the whole point that I was trying to make to everybody that yes, it's nice that RWA is back. It's nice, but RWA should have never closed in the first place.
Yes.
The door should never close. And why the door closed? Cause Mr. White. And he can sit here and tell you that he's a changed man. He's not changed. He's still the same egotistical bastard that he's always been. And he's never gonna change. But nobody sees that. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to change.
I can notice that change as well.
Is that exactly? You starting to see. I know you feel the tension when you walk in backstage at RWA, like the tension on everybody's face. Like everybody knows that they need to win their matches. Everybody knows that like if they go out there, this is my time to like impress the owner so he can give me something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I brought back the competitive spirit in all the other competitors.
One of those people being Ryan Schiller.
One of the that to me that was one of the main people I really could take an example of. Ryan Schiller. When Ryan Schiller was here, he wasn't really used. He wasn't that good. He wasn't when he was first here.
Yep.
But then one day me and him was talking and I dared him. I said I told him if you can win the Ringmaster Series, dude, I'll sponsor you for the rest of the time that you're here in RWA. I'll help you out with anything you need. And he said, are you for real? I said, man, whatever you need, I can get it for you. And you know, Bryan Adams, he put his boots on and he showed, and he really impressed me from round one. He impressed me.
So it's funny how you say that as well, because there was a video on social media that had you in it backstage when Ryan Schiller won the Ringmaster Championship, and it showed you backstage. A fan was recording, and you were cheering for Ryan Schiller. I could just
Yes.
see how happy you were just looking at your face.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, 3 of the most proudest moments of my life as a GM was seeing Ryan Schiller win the Ringmaster Series, was seeing Chris Smith beat the Demon Jello, and seeing Percy Owens retain the world title. seeing seeing the guys that I have faith in, and I see the potential in them, seeing them actually succeed and win gold. That was the best moment of my life. It that
I could
was
only
it was
imagine.
Yeah, man. It was, and we celebrated. We partied that night. Even though I lost, we partied. We partied that night.
I'm pretty sure the other party had a party as well, and I know what party that I'm talking about. It's Kelvin James, Mr. White, Brian Adams, and Jello. But Brian Adams, I don't think he should be doing any partying. Like that dude went through 3 matches. I don't think he was involved in it. But there was a lot of partying that night, I will say.
Chad, I'm gonna tell you something. Brian Adams, that I don't know who that was. That wasn't Brian Adams. Cause just watching the tables match, you can see. I mean, the way he was walking to the ring, you can see that he wasn't joking around. He didn't come out to like his music. He didn't wear his shades. He didn't come out in his merch. He came directly down to the ring, and he meant business. I can 100% say when he was walking to that ring, and the brutality that he was bringing to all 3 of those matches, I seen a little bit of myself. I seen a little bit of myself in him, because now Brian Adams is starting to see that he can't play games. It's cool to flaunt what you have, but you need to make sure everybody knows I have this for a reason. And Brian Adams showed that. So that's the one person I can say that really, really stood out to me out of the whole pay-per-view.
Yeah, I that he was really
Yeah,
good that night, and
yeah. And believe me, and it's tough for me to say this, because me and Brian Adams, we don't like each other. Me and Brian Adams, we are not friends. But I will
yeah.
give respect. I will give respect and credit where it's due. He's earned the credit.
So we saw a bunch of best of series, right? We saw
Yes.
one with American Trash. We saw one
Mhm.
with Kelvin James. I know you
Mhm.
don't want me to mention him, but and then we also saw one with you, the Myles Thurman. We saw your best of matches, what you done in RWA. Out of all those matches, which one was your favorite that you did?
My favorite, one, you say?
Your favorite match you have done in RWA?
My favorite match that I've ever done in RWA, I would have to say it was Hell House 2018 or 2019, when I fought Black Metal.
Oh, that was a good one. You two
Yes, it
went back and
was.
forth.
That match was brutal, and I'm saying that match because that match was the most frustrating for me,
I
because
believe you
I've
still have a
never.
scar from that event, don't you?
Oh, believe me, man, I still have headaches, and I still have nightmares about how that match went for us. I get, like, sometimes when I'm sitting by myself, I can feel this. I can feel the chair shots. I can feel myself being dropped on that ladder, and like every time I turn around, sometimes I feel like it's a soul collector right there waiting for me.
That soul
It can happen at any
that
moment.
soul collector is very menacing. And you don't. The
That
funny thing about it too is it's one of the RWA finishers where you don't know when it's gonna happen. It
you
just
never
happens.
you never see it coming. I mean, it's like you can think you know when it's coming, but you don't. And even when you do know the soul collector is coming, tell me what can you do about it? Because you sure can't avoid it. If he misses, I'll try again. And then he gets creative with it. That's what makes it more deadly. He gets creative.
I guess that's why we could say Black Metal was very successful in RWA because he
We
already had
can,
a presence about him. So with that,
yes.
just adding to it, that's just success
Yes,
before the success happens. That's literally how it is.
hands down. Is probably one of the most devastating finishers I've ever got hit with. Next to my own finisher, it has to be one of the most deadliest.
So we saw you lose your power in 2021, right? We saw you lose your power just at Down Flames.
Yes.
I just want you to tell me this now. What's your end goal of 2021 before it ends?
Well, man, after I had my time as owner, GM, now my end game, my goal for the end of 2021, if I was still in power, I just wanted to get the views for the company up. Wanted to get the views. I wanted to make sure the Empire was still on top. Make sure everybody knew their place. But now that I'm no longer in power, and it's a strong possibility that I would be getting back in the ring. I guess by the end of the year, I want to see my world title hanging over my shoulder again.
If that happens, that is truly going to be really important for your career and a resurgence. Just think, this year it's had its ups and it's had its downs. One of those downs
Yes.
was you losing your power, but one of those ups was you creating the new empire, getting that
Yes.
empire back. So if you could get that world title, that could be really good for your career, and just adding to all the stuff you've already done.
Yes. It will. Yeah. It will really. It'll really make my end of the year good. Cause right now I'm going through the bad, as you know. Cause I'm no longer in charge. But yeah, winning the world title would definitely make the end of my year good. It'll bring back on a good note going into 2022.
I think without a shadow of a doubt, this year has been to you, just by all the stuff you've been doing, all the promos you've been cutting, the hard work and dedication you've had for this year to make this show good.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in the back, well, some of the people in the back, applaud you for that and thank you.
Right. Hey man, you said some people in the back. All I wanted to do was make RWA better, and I did for the short time that I was on her.
Yeah.
I feel like that's never gonna sit good. That's never gonna sit good in me, Like just saying, I lost.
So, I believe you used to have a partner called Bobby, is that correct?
Bobby the Bull Johnson, yes.
Y'all guys were known as the Twin
The
Towers.
Twin Towers, yes.
Y'all won the tag titles, and
Yes.
y'all guys had a pretty decent reign. I think it happened last year.
Yes.
No, yes. And then it
I
ended
think last
after
year,
the
2 years
Rumble.
ago. Yes, it did. It sadly ended after the Rumble.
And that was because of someone we haven't seen in a while. Because he attacked you backstage, Matthew Black did. Do you still
Yes.
even want to get some revenge on that man for costing you your tag title?
Can I ask you a question, Chad?
Yes.
And this question is gonna answer your question. Since I've returned back to the company from that hellacious injury, have you seen Matthew Black here at all?
I believe not, sir.
Have me or Mr. White ever mentioned firing him?
I believe so.
He was never fired.
He was never fired. Wow. That means
No.
he's somewhere lurking backstage.
Or the word I'm looking for is avoiding.
Oh.
I mean, think about it. If you took a cheap shot at me and you almost cost me my entire RWA career, how would you feel?
I would be scared to even walk out into the backstage. I probably wouldn't even go to the show.
Exactly. So it doesn't surprise me that Matthew Black is not here, but it's okay because something special is happening in RWA very, very soon, and believe me, he's gonna be there. And the moment I see him, well, let's just say, a eye for an eye, right?
Yep. It truly will be a good match if that ends up happening.
Indeed, it will.
So, we got a question from one of the listeners right now. His name is Bobby Platehead. A really weird name. But it's a question for you. And what was the worst rivalry you've been in? Best rivalry and favorite match? Well, you've already said your favorite match, so those two questions.
I'm gonna say my worst rivalry, I would have to say when I fought Beast.
That was a train wreck. From a fan, when that did happen, that was a train wreck, and I hope it never happens again.
Yeah, that was my least favorite feud in my life. That was my least best one, cause I'm not blaming me. I'm blaming him. He's not good at promos. He cannot cut a promo. Don't get me wrong. Beast is amazing at a ring. I'm not taking nothing from the kid. He's amazing, but that kid cannot cut a decent promo to save his life. I feel like our feud would have been better if he just didn't talk at all.
Yeah, 10 times better.
I swear. Now, my favorite. Oh God. Okay. Whew, I got a lot of them. But I gotta say my favorite one was the very first RWA Midsummer Massacre when I fought Tyson Mason in the very first televised death match.
About that match in itself had so many implications. For one, being the first ever televised death match for RWA. So, that's just how it is. It was really good. I saw it.
And not to mention, it brought out the brutality it brought more of the brutality out of Tyson Mason. It brought out the side of Tyson Mason that I was trying to bring out of Tyson Mason before we even got to that point. I was trying to bring that ruthless part of him out a long time. So that match really made him stand out. It made him look dangerous in front of people. Besides him just looking dangerous standing next to me, and it also made the way for my RWA career because that was the first televised death match. After that, I went on to win 4 other death matches. I'm still technically undefeated in death matches.
You are pretty good in death matches. We've seen that televised. With Garbage. Yes, televised. We seen you in Garbage. You absolutely killed him. He absolutely almost killed you. Y'all, that was just a really good match. I believe it went up to a best of 3, right? Y'all had 3 matches.
Yes, we had a big ass feud, and that was one of I'm surprised that one didn't make my favorites. It didn't make my favorites. It wasn't bad. It's just that one with Tyson Mason was just amazing.
So much better.
It started both our careers. Yeah, but by the same time, when I fought Garbage, and Garbage was somebody I knew nothing about. All I did was watch his matches. I've never had a competitive match for him until that point. Actually, Chad, I'm gonna tell you something. So how sometimes some of the wrestlers we all meet up and we'll have training matches together?
Yes.
Yeah. Me and Garbage, we never had a fun match together. We never had a practice fun match together. Never.
Wow.
That feud, the feud that y'all seen was the very first time I've ever interacted with Garbage.
I think that's what made you and him special for a lot of people, because it was a feud that we haven't seen, like you said.
Exactly, and no one knew each other's movesets. All all he knew about me was my finisher. All I knew about him was his finisher. That was it. He didn't know my fighting style. He didn't know like exactly how much damage he would have to inflict on me to make me submit. Or same thing with me. I didn't know how far I would have to push him to make him stop. And I didn't know how far I would have to go to make sure he stopped.
I will say you have been involved in a bunch of tag teams during your duration here in RWA. You're in
Yes, I
one
have.
right now, or if you want to call it a faction, same thing.
Yes.
You were Twin Towers for this one. You had the original Empire as well.
Yes, I have.
You've just been in a lot, and
I,
it's crazy to see how much you involved as a character inside and outside the ring. And that brings me
yeah.
to my next question.
Okay.
My next question, this is like a mid, like on TV and off. Who is the best in the locker room just to chill and hang out with?
For me,
Yes.
the chill people to hang out in the locker room with.
Yes.
Number one is the milkman.
The
The
milkman.
the milkman was a pretty chill dude. You know, like me and him, we en- engaged in magical flowers. Yeah, so me and the milkman were cool. And then later on, the beautiful Brian Kendrick started hanging out with us. So so I really want to say, if you want to just hang out in the locker room, just kick back and chill with somebody, like someone who's just gonna relax with you, I'll hang out with the milkman and or beautiful Brian Kendrick.
He is RWA's resident milkman, so
Yes, he is. He's actually our official milkman. He makes sure we all have milk, and the milk is pretty good. I don't know what he put in it, but it's pretty good.
and we got another question, and this is from an RWA legend, American Trash.
Hmm.
And we've known you two did not get along, so it's up to you if you want to answer this. So this question is, what was Thurman's top 5 favorite world title matches of his career?
The top 5 world title matches of my career.
Yes.
The top 5 for me, I would have to say, oh my God, give me a second. I gotta go back to this one. The handful of times that I've defended my title against Black Metal. The 2 times that I fought for the World Championship when I fought Chaos. When I fought Josh Anderson.
Oh man, that was personal as well. Everyone, to be
Yes.
honest, no one liked him. That's what I
No,
heard, the
no one did.
rumors, the
Yes,
online
like
stories. No one liked him, respected him at all in the backstage. Is that all true?
every bit of that was true. Everybody want. It was like that was the one time that I've seen nobody cared about the world title. All they wanted to do was fight Josh Anderson. That was all anybody wanted to do. They didn't care about the world title. All they wanted to do was fight him. But the one person that I could say that wanted to get his hands on Josh Anderson the most, and I don't even know why, was the American Trash. The American Trash had a deep hatred for Josh Anderson. But like, not everybody was qualified or even good enough to face Josh Anderson. The person that we felt was the best person for the job was Garbage. Garbage, I can say Garbage was the only person on the RWA roster that actually had a shot at a one-on-one match with Josh Anderson. But Garbage came up short. If Garbage would have won that match, I would have never had to step in.
Yeah.
But the last one, and this one was the most important because this match told me told me how good I was. We had a split show for RWA one time. It was known as Alpha Omega. And for a minute I was in Alpha Omega as the world champion over there. And something happened. I got traded to now the old banned RWA show, just Rebellion. And when I came to Rebellion, I ended up fighting Calvin James, who was the world champion at the time. But it was also a twist. At the time, Marco Sparks had captured and defended the RWA TV championship 4 times. And after you do that, you're allowed to cash in the title for a world heavyweight championship opportunity. So he cashed in, turning it into a triple threat match. And then to make it worse, Calvin James turned the match into a match that everybody knows the Monster Myles can never win. Yep. He turned into a ladder match.
That has always been a disadvantage for big guys, considering they have a harder time of, climbing.
Yes.
Not all big mans are. Well, some big mans are agile. Some big mans can do that, but you were more of a ground pound guy, more of a dominant style. You weren't too fast. You were just really strong and really powerful. Yes. And we saw that in all your matches, even to this date.
And people say to this day, how did you win that ladder match? I just said, did you watch it? No. Well, go watch it and look at how bad I beat Marco Sparks and Calvin James. They didn't want to get back up. I mean, come on now. If you take my brutality, the things I can do, and you give me a ladder, do you know the damage I would do? Or have you seen the damage that I've done?
Yeah, the damage you've done is undescribable. Like, it's been entertaining, and it's also been twisted at the same time. Like, it's a twisted entertaining. Like, it's fun for the fans to watch it. But at the same time, it's like grit your teeth style.
You know what, Chad? I'm finna give you a piece of info that I want you to keep this with you. And as we go on into the future of the company, when you got to start calling all my matches, you're going to notice every time my opponent decides to kick out of a move that I do, it's like they're opening the door to let the monster out. The more you kick out, every time you kick out, some of his sadistic starts coming out. And that's when you're going to start noticing the weapons and start knowing he's starting to get slammed on stuff. He's starting to get hit a lot harder. So yeah, keep all that going forward when you start calling my matches, because you're going to start seeing a whole different side.
So we saw and we heard you talking about Alpha Omega, and that was just one of my questions. Yes. Talk about your time in Alpha Omega, besides what you've already talked about.
It didn't get a long enough run. That's what I can say. It could have been great. We had a decent roster. We had a decent roster with decent people. I can't remember everybody on the roster. It was a long time ago, man. But like, I remember briefly of it. The locker room was cool. It was like instantly they made me a locker room leader. Instantly, just because of everybody's cool with me in the locker room. Well, most of the people in RWA are cool with me in the locker room. So yeah, so it was a pretty nice, chill, laid back roster. I mean, Alpha Omega didn't really get a lot of spot time. We had a few pay-per-views that was on the channel, but my short few months in Alpha Omega was actually pretty nice. If Alpha Omega would come back, I would actually consider going over there, or like even if I can't run it. Alpha Omega was definitely hands down one of the best ones.
So that was like a brand with RWA. What we've also seen you expand your palette in the wrestling world. We saw you in MCW.
Yes.
MCW was really good for you, in my
Yes.
opinion. You've had a lot of success there. Is there any?
No, not really. When I came into the company, it was like the doors was about to close.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I did do a few matches over at MCW.
we seen you main event.
Exactly. Yeah, MCW. That was another company that was, again, it didn't have enough time to really show what it was capable of. You know what I'm saying? If that
Yes,
makes any sense. Yeah, like it got destroyed too fast.
it was
It
arch
was destroyed.
rivals with RWA as well at the time. So
It was. It was. Most of the time, both of the owners at the time they were having a really big feud, and like a lot of the members, they were ready to go to war with each other. You know, like the people of RWA were ready to go over to MCW, knock down their doors. MCW ready to come to RWA, knock down our doors. But I try, because with me, I'm cool with both. I was cool with both of the leaders. So I was
yeah,
just trying to. I tried my best to keep the peace.
you're
I
basically the
was.
peacemaker at that time. You're just trying to
Yeah.
get
I'm not
everyone
going.
just to be
Yeah.
friends again.
Yeah. I'm not finna sit here and say that I single-handedly was able to keep them from really raging and doing shit to each other. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, but I can sit here and say that I put an input in both of their ears. You know, cause like sometimes Mr. White will say, "Man, the owner of MCW is doing this, blah blah blah. You know what? I'm finna go do this," and then I'll come and I'll be like, "Why? Why would you do that? Why waste your time dealing with childish shit like that when we have a company to run? Let's run this company. Don't worry about what they're doing. Are they doing anything in RWA? No. Then why are you messing with them? Let them. Okay, if they got content, let them drop their content. Let's worry about RWA." Everything came back to RWA for me.
Yeah.
I was looking at the bigger picture, which our owner wasn't. And the owner of MCW, he was looking at the bigger picture. He didn't. Everybody knew he wasn't cool with Mr. White. Everybody knows that. But he wasn't starting. He didn't want to go to war. He just wanted to have a wrestling league, have his own company. That was it. And what happened? It got destroyed over, over, over what I'm still considering as a big misunderstanding.
It was a big misunderstanding, and
It was everything that happened didn't need to happen. Everybody could have still been a big happy family. It wouldn't have been. Yes, we all would have been arguing in the locker room, but that's the locker room. Everybody argues. It's not going to be 100% calm. Even I know that. Even I know it's going to be arguments in the locker room. You can't avoid that. But
so
but doing stuff to each other, why? Why?
it's just not good for a company, and it could kill a company very quickly.
It
And,
can. It can
and
really
we
destroy
saw
a
that.
company, and it can hurt a lot of people's feelings too. And it's like, what's the point of doing that? We're all in here doing the same thing to to literally be in a company and run it, make make this money. That's what we're trying to do.
So we got a question from Andrew Storm.
Okay.
Andrew Storm. He says if you could put two rookies together to fight, who would they be and why?
If I could put two rookies to fight, you know what, Andrew Storm? I'll put you and Chris Smith.
You put Chris Smith?
I'll put Chris Smith and Andrew Storm. And I'm picking
That's a
the
dream match,
yeah,
considering
yeah,
they've had
yeah,
experience with each other in the past.
exactly. They have experience with each other in the past, and I don't know if you were even backstage for some, like if you were just around the performance center when we're all doing matches and stuff, like practice stuff and everything. It came a handful of times where it almost came to blows with Chris Smith and Matt and Andrew Storm. it came it came a few times where it actually came to blows with those two, because they both came from the Jello games, but Chris Smith got called up. He got called up to RWA, while Andrew Storm, he's still in the Jello games, but Andrew Storm doing good too. But yeah, if I had to have two rookies, I'll put those two against each other, because those two, they know each other well, and they have a lot of beef with each other, and they need to just, all that aggression, they need to just let it out. Just give them one big match and let them let it all out.
So RWA announced on their social media account that the Master of Pain tournament is coming.
You see? The Master of Pain tournament.
And this question is from American Trash as well. He says, what does Thurman think about the deathmatch tournament, that being the Masters of Pain? Will we see you in it?
I can, Chad, I can 100% confirm right here, right now, I am a participant in the Masters of Pain tournament.
Oh my God, I feel bad for your opponents. We saw what you've done in these type of matches. We were just talking about it in this podcast. You in a death match is unbreakable, unbeatable. I got you winning.
And this is for the American Trash, if he's watching or whatever. If you're in that Master of the Pain tournament, I know you remember what happened that one time we fought each other. Didn't I plant your head in a ladder? Unless you want to get planted the same way again, I suggest you stay out of my way.
So we've seen you fight opponent after opponent in your past, and right now I want to get the good detail. I need to get the good scoop. I need to hear your 5 toughest opponents that were just really that were just really hard to defeat. What?
Oh shit. Black Metal.
Black Metal, of course, one of the most coveted and most successful people in RWA.
Yes. Chaos.
Chaos.
I mean, Chaos may not look like he's a lot, but Chaos is a fighter. He's definitely a fighter. The American Trash. I remember when I first heard of him, I put smut on his name. I still remember when I said he wasn't worthy of doing anything, and then just to show how much he was not worthy, I threw him through a steel cage.
Jesus.
Yeah, but the few we had, he was definitely a tough one. Another tough opponent, I'd say, Tyson Mason. Tyson Mason was one of the people. Tyson Mason, to this day, I feel like if he sees me, he would instantly start a fight with me. He's somebody who never learns when it comes to messing with me. So
I think he doesn't have a brain to learn. No offense, Tyson Mason.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so neither.
His body's just built to just decimate and destroy.
And another person.
This is gonna be your number 5, by the way. You've already named 4.
Seth Evans.
Seth Evans.
It's gonna surprise. Yeah, aka Marco Sparks.
Yeah.
Seth Evans. And I say that because if you go back, I think it's on the RWA channel. If you go back and you watch like the very first Rebel Rumble, I faced Seth Evans for the Alpha Omega World Heavyweight Championship in a no disqualifications match. And Seth Evans, he held his own against me. Seth Evans is a fighter. He's not the fighting type. He's more of like, like the kind of tactitional running kind of person. You know, like he tries to catch you off guard with everything. But for how he fought me, he held his own. He was a tough person. And you know, I named these 5 people exactly because I can tell you with each one of them some of the most devastating moves that I've hit on them, and they've kicked out of it. Like they kept fighting after I hit these disgusting moves on them. So yeah, those are my 5 toughest opponents that I've ever had to deal with.
And yeah, that was a great top 5 list. And going back on your dream opponents, one of them was Jello, right?
Yes.
We've seen on social media y'all two going back and forth, Jello wanting to fight you, you just don't
Yeah,
want.
man.
Yeah, it's just been crazy between you two, just going back and forth on social media. We've seen it.
Yeah,
Jello's been calling you out.
I don't know I don't understand what his problem was, man. You know, I don't understand because at one point Mr. White turned his back on him. Actually, Jello was the first person Mr. White turned his back on. He turned his back on him a year before the Hell House match me and him had. He turned his back on him a year, and they had almost an hour-long death match, just so Joe get all that anger out. And then it's like, here we are again. RWA is back. I take out the person that was treating all of us like shit. And when I say all of us, me, Chaos, Jello,
I know for
Calvin
sure I
Gaines.
wasn't getting paid enough, so.
Yeah, exactly, Chad. You were still doing minor commentary for minor things. I didn't even know what your name was back then. Now I actually know who you are. And the moment you told me, you was like, Thurman, I've been here since the very beginning. I was actually front row for your match against Tyson Mason. I'm like, what? What? Exactly. So, and then it's like he just came back with a new attitude, like, "Hey, yo, Thurman, fight me. Hey, yo, Thurman, but you soft. Damn, Thurman, how'd you go from being a monster to being a corporate bitch?" And I'm like, what's going on? So you know, at that point, I'm saying, if you want to open these doors for me, man, I don't mind shutting them. So I'll deal with
Jello
Jello
has
when the time
rubbed,
comes.
yeah, Jello has rubbed people the wrong way, and a lot of people's had reports about what he's done in the locker room, all of the pranks and all the stuff he used to do. He's
Exactly.
not really fun to work with, but you gotta respect his
I
drive,
res-
wanting to
I
be the
res-
best.
I respect this drive. It's just like I said. It was just like I said on that episode of Metal when he retained the breakout championship against Hair Metal. I told him, I've always seen a world champion in you. Jello may not see it. Jello is a world champion. I mean, you seen how he won that break. I mean, you watched him through the whole breakout tournament, didn't you? You watched him in the finals. You watched him win it. You watched him when he tried to retain. You asked him when he fought his hardest against Chris Smith. So we know he's a fighter. So I don't understand why he would want to pick a fight with me. Me and Jello have been friends since the very beginning. Me and him been friends since the very first faction me and him was part of, the Cult of Chaos. Me and him been best friends since then. This is the first time I've never seen this side of him before, and I've never seen him snap at me, somebody who's never done him wrong.
Now, this is an interesting question I have lined up for you. So, with this question, we've seen retired belts in RWA that are not here anymore. If there's one title you'd like to see return in exchange for a title we have now, what would you like to see?
Uh, do I have to exchange titles?
That's up to you, if you would.
Okay, I wouldn't exchange none of the titles that we have now. I wouldn't exchange. I'll keep them all. If anything, I would bring back a title. We don't have like and I don't want to copyright this, but we don't have something where somebody can instantly get a title match. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If I had it my way, and if I would have stayed in power a little bit longer, I would have hands down would have brought back the TV championship.
TV championship. That title was pretty good because I believe if you got a
If
total of 3 or
four,
5, 4.
four title, if you can retain it 4 times, you can cash that in for a world championship title shot. So let's make an example. So let's say let's say someone like Bruiser Owens or Kevin Rogers wins the TV championship, and then they turn around, defends it 4 times, and they cash in an opportunity at any time to make themselves number one contender. Yeah, like it's not gonna be like a Money in the Bank briefcase where you can cash anytime, right? No, when you cash in the title, the next pay per view you're automatically number one contender. It's instantly your title shot, instantly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like if we had something like them, that would throw the world champion off because he won't be used to fighting someone who's in the lower cards, who's never seen a main event spot.
Yeah,
You
we've
know,
seen the Rebel Rumble change people's careers. We've seen the Money in the Bank match change people's careers. But this
yes,
title alone, for one, it's a title you're winning. But at the same time, if you think about it, if it goes all right, it's 2 titles you're winning. And it honestly could shake up the whole division and everything.
right, right, exactly. And like to this day, I'm gonna tell everybody the same thing. The RWA title is a double-edged sword. I mean, you can win it. It's nice to have it. The pay bonus, the fame. Everybody in the locker room give you your props. But then what happens at the next medal? When the same people that were cheering you, patting you on your back, giving you handshakes, they watch your match and they see you out there, down and out, down, exhausted, and then they take an opportunity and they come out and they attack you. Why is that? Because they want that title. And they know because they're close to you, they're closer to that title. That's the curse of the RWA championship. You have to be willing to do anything to anyone at any time to keep what you believe belongs to you.
That was a really good way of explaining it. And that was basically it. The TV title was just built to ruin everything. Friendships, relationships, everything. Thrown out
That's all.
the book.
That's all it is. And see, that's where I feel like Bryan Adams messed up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you don't have to gloat with your title, but Bryan Adams was going around the locker room talking to everybody like they were his friends. I bet you any amount of money, Chad. If it wasn't me who was trying to take that title off of him, he would have been attacked by everybody in that locker room. Demon Jello would have came out and hit a demon shot and the black arrow on him. Chaos would have came out and hit two judgment days on him. Tyson Mason would have walked out and power slammed him. Why is that? Because you're holding a title that everybody wants.
Yep.
That's all that is. He wasn't ready. And I can say he's getting there now. I can say that.
So we got another question from Bobby Playhead.
They ain't Bobby. They ain't.
Yeah, Bobby's a good listener and a true
Yeah.
fan. So this is an interesting question he has. Cult of Chaos or Hellbound? Who was better? What team was better?
Uh. Like, you want me to do it tag team wise or solo wise?
I think he meant that question tag team.
Tag team wise, the two people of the Cult of Chaos that were the best of tag teams, I will give it to Black Metal and the Demon Jello. And I say that because those were the only two people who was able to dethrone the Twin Towers from the tag team championships. Yeah, Demon Jello and Black Metal, that tag team was the Cult of Chaos. Without, because those two, it's like they thought the same, you know. It's like instantly it was kind of like they were two people of the same body.
They had an instant connection for sure.
They were kind of like clones. I remember there was one time we were facing them in a tornado tag street fight. It was me and Bobby versus those two. It came a point, I forgot what happened to Bobby. It came a point in the match where I was in the ring with both of them. Black Metal tried to go for a Soul Collector. I reversed it and I was able to super kick him. Out of nowhere, I get hit with a demon shot and the match was over. Those two have an instant connection. When one finisher don't land, they instantly got another one ready for you right next door. Yeah, I would love to see those two team up again if Black Metal was to ever make his return back to RWA.
We got another question from Legend Man.
Okay.
Would you even team with the Beast? I don't know why.
Yes.
You would? Okay.
I would team with the Beast. You see, so me and you already discussed the Twin Towers, the Empire, the new Empire. All that was like a rough draft of what I wanted to create. It was a rough draft. I wanted to create a faction known as the Monsters, you know? I wanted two big guys. That's basically what Brick and Crusher were. That was a vision that I've had for a long time. I just wanted a group of three big guys. Three big guys who can run through the entire roster because we wanted to. But
that truly would have been a really dominant force.
It really would have. But you wanna know what happened? I was thinking too much in my own shell. Everybody would expect me to have two big men follow me around. But it threw off the entire roster when they realized I called back Percy Owens. And then it really, really messed them up when I made the call and I brought a rookie who was just starting out in the pro wrestling business. And he was a cruiserweight, and I brought him into my faction. Everybody was thrown off by the fact that they wasn't big like me.
We got another question from Legend Man. I'm starting to think this fan here is a troll, but as a fan of this product, would you say David Lavery is a future Hall of Famer?
David Lavery?
Yes.
No.
That's all that needs to be said, because I think this guy is a troll. I think we should get him out of here after asking him that question.
Hey, yeah, I think we do. Go ahead and get him out the chat.
Yeah, just get him out of here. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's gone. Pretty sure he's gone. But Myles Thurman, I just want to say it was an honor having you on the show tonight. It was
an honor being here.
I want to thank you for taking your time to do this with me.
Yes.
With that being said, make sure you all tune in to the next medal and that Masters of Pain tournament. And we just heard tonight one confirmed person in that tournament, and that is Myles Thurman himself. So it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be big. I'm excited. I'd be lying to you if I wasn't. But any last words you want to say?
Uh, yeah, I got a last quick message for the RWA roster. So everybody on the roster is gonna hear this. From this moment forward, going on, don't reference me as the drug lord anymore. You reference me by the monster Myles.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, that was the last message that I have for the entire roster. Hey, I hope everybody's ready for the weeks to come, because I know
I know I am. I know I am.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a time, Chad. I think you're gonna have a good time at that commentary table.
Oh yes, for sure.
You
Hopefully,
might.
hopefully I'll be there this time.
Oh, yes, man. I hope you're there. I hated that we had to call back our old commentator. I didn't like him at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, man, yeah, but Chad, I want you to stay here. I want you to stay with us as much as possible. What I need you to do is keep water with you on standby while you're at the commentary table. That's all I need you to do.
It can get a little dry there. Just saying.
It
But
can.
anyway, um, yeah, that's the show. Thank you everybody for watching the second episode of the podcast. My first guest here was Myles Thurman, who's giving me my second. I don't even know. I'm gonna close out here. We'll see you later, guys.
Bye.